With the release of Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 1 Episode 16 Kamino Lost, the finale of the show, we got a major look into the future of Nale Se and the ominous plans that the Empire have for her after the age of the clone troopers. After snatching Nale Se, she was taken to a mysterious imperial facility recessed deep inside of mountain ranges, which actually may have some huge connections to one of Palpatine's secret storehouses, along with his cloning plans, and even Grand Admiral Thrawn. So let's break down the story of Mount Tantiss on the planet Wayland, and how it will probably connect to the Mandalorian, Bad Batch, and heaps more. So before we dive in, make sure you subscribe for more awesome Star Wars lore content, with Star Wars Visions and the Book of Boba Fett coming up in the next few months. So as the finale of the Bad Batch comes to an end, we see Nale Se being escorted off of an imperial shuttle by a squad of clone commandos on a lush mountainous planet, with imperial facilities taking up space in almost every mountain face. As Nale Se steps off the transport, she is greeted by an imperial operative who immediately tells her that they are very impressed with her scientific talents, as well as menacingly telling her that the Empire have big things planned for her. Now this is obviously referring to her cloning skills, which Palpatine is very interested at this time, in order to further his quest for immortality, along with the very obvious connections to Snoke. And if you compare this to the look of the planet Wayland in the comics, you can easily see the similarities. On top of the fact that Wayland also housed top secret cloning facilities for Palpatine, deep inside of the mountains, just like we see in the Bad Batch. With Nale Se being brought here, it's pretty clear that the reason is to assist in future cloning projects. To further back up that this is actually a cloning installation in the Bad Batch, is the fact that this Imperial operative has the patch of the Imperial cloners on her arm. This is the exact same patch that you can see on the young clone troopers in Attack of the Clones, as well as Dr. Pershing in The Mandalorian, who we already know is involved in cloning, midichlorian science, and pretty much anything to do with the creation of new life. On top of that, the entire rest of the uniform is pretty much identical to Dr. Pershing. To be honest, I wouldn't even be surprised if this character's model has been based off someone that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have already cast for The Mandalorian Season 3, and will end up being connected to that. So this right here pretty much confirms that the facility Nale Se was just taken to is involved in cloning and exotic sciences. Now another place that had deep ties to cloning and Palpatine was the planet Wayland from the Thrawn trilogy. So although it was introduced in the old EU, Wayland has actually been brought back into the new canon through the Vader Immortal VR games, which you can see on screen now. In the game you can view different holograms of some of the galaxy's planets, and when you view Wayland, you are specifically told that Emperor Palpatine has storehouses of treasure and other exotic goods on the planet, meaning they probably have been thinking about these connections for quite a while. And if you do have a VR headset, you should definitely check out these games, as they're probably up there with some of the best Star Wars VR experiences. If you want to see some videos on that as well, just let me know down below, and I might do a few live streams playing Vader Immortal. Wayland was discovered and colonized all the way back during the time of the Old Republic, serving as a crucial field hospital during the Mandalorian Wars. After this, however, a filing error removed all records of the planet from all galactic maps and databases, meaning that it was lost to memory for a very long period of time. Centuries after this, however, the planet was rediscovered by Palpatine in the time just before the Separatist crisis. After realizing that this planet was largely uncharted and almost completely isolated from the rest of the galaxy, Palpatine began hollowing out its mountains and turning them into storehouses for arcane artifacts, Force relics, and many other different forms of exotic technology, including cloning. After the Clone Wars kicked off at Geonosis, Palpatine's storehouses on the planet came under very slight threat when the Separatists invaded the planet and took control of it, despite the fact that he was controlling them. If anyone from the Confederacy went prying too deeply into the storehouses and the secret installation on Wayland during the war, you can be sure that Palpatine would have taken them out in a heartbeat to keep his plans from leaking. At one point during the war, a Jedi Knight made it into the atmosphere of the planet, but was quickly taken out before he could do much digging. In the very late part of the Clone Wars, Palpatine then established multiple top-secret research stations across the planet, including a new storehouse into a mountain called Mount Tantiss. Now Mount Tantiss is very interesting and has some huge connections to the Bad Batch, the Mandalorian, and of course Palpatine and his attempts at rejuvenating himself, which we'll get straight into. Mount Tantiss was originally the site of an Old Republic fort, which lay dormant for many years, until being re-established by Palpatine late during the Clone Wars. Inside, Palpatine began to stockpile and store numerous objects of unspeakable evil, as well as later storing trinkets and other objects from the planets he conquered during the reign of the Galactic Empire. Basically, after the Empire conquered culturally rich and historically important planets, Palpatine would plunder anything of historic value and bring it to Mount Tantiss. As you can see from the map on screen now, the facility contained many rooms including a barracks, hangar bay, security stations, a brig, a war room, royal chambers, emergency shuttle hangars, and most interestingly for the Bad Batch, a huge cloning chamber placed right in the center, with many science and observation rooms placed below it. Inside these rooms, Palpatine had dozens of Sparty cloning cylinders, which allowed for the creation of personal clones. And as you can probably tell, this is where Nale Se and the Snoke cloning plans come in. It's very possible that the Imperials will bring Nale Se in to use her knowledge and expertise on the cloning process, from her years of experience with the Jango Fett clones, to help begin the new program of cloning bodies for Palpatine. In addition to that, not only did Palpatine use these facilities, but also Grand Admiral Thrawn, who we already know from the Ahsoka episode of The Mandalorian, will be a massive part of the upcoming Mandoverse content. In the time after Return of the Jedi, Thrawn managed to use Mount Tantiss' cloning facilities to build up his new fleet and wage war against the New Republic as part of the Mount Tantiss project. Yes, very creative name from Thrawn. Basically, after losing almost all military personnel like officers, pilots and soldiers to the various Imperial remnants and warlords, Thrawn set out to find new ways to increase his own military strength. After discovering the facilities on the planet Wayland that were established by Palpatine before his death, Thrawn was able to add thousands of cloning cylinders to generate a new army. Some of the templates that Thrawn had access to were Soon TFL, Greb, Turkus, and the famed General Veers. So with the state of the Imperial remnant by the time of The Mandalorian, Thrawn's gonna need as many men as he can get, if he's even back. We don't know if Ahsoka's demanding Thrawn because he's already back, or because she doesn't know where to start looking, but either way, Thrawn is gonna need a lot of men if he wants to defeat the New Republic. He's probably not going to be able to get enough recruits by himself, meaning he'll have to turn to cloning, which indirectly benefits Palpatine, whether or not he's still directly working for him or not. It's pretty clear that Gideon is most likely working for a higher power, which is likely Grand Admiral Thrawn himself. So that begs the question of whether or not Gideon is pursuing the cloning technology for himself, or for a higher power like Thrawn, who wants to rid the galaxy of the New Republic. And it's fully possible that Gideon does want it for both himself, and to also create a new fleet to defeat the New Republic with Thrawn. So with all of this information, it seems pretty clear now that whether we like it or not, all of the shows that are in the pipeline right now will have some connection to Snoke and Palpatine. The Bad Batch has already shown us the old abandoned Kamino cloning facilities on Bora Vio, and now possibly Wayland. The Mando has shown us the hidden tanks on Navarro, the Darth Vader comics have shown us cloning on Exegol, and we of course see them in The Rise of Skywalker. Knowing all of this, it seems that Nale Se is simply one piece of the puzzle, with Grogu being another piece, which will obviously take them much longer, all the way until the time of The Mandalorian to find, since we know that he went into hiding, and then Snoke is probably another piece, which are Palpatine's early attempts at conducting the highly complex process of cloning beings with high midichlorian counts. So tell me down below how you think it will all tie into the upcoming Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorian Season 3, and all of the upcoming content from John and Dave. So that is probably how we just got our first close-up look at the planet Wayland in the new canon, as well as a possible glimpse into Mount Tantiss, a well-known location for Palpatine's collection and cloning activities in the old EU. Thanks so much for watching, really hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to leave a like and subscribe for more content just like this. Cheers guys, hope to see you in the next one.